Hello and welcome to Study with Sudhir, where the focus is on learning and learning only. My name is T.S. Sudhir. Today we are going to be focusing on the project for ICSE as well as ISC students, which consists of both writing, listening and speaking skills. And today in this video, I am going to be focusing on how to speak in the most remarkable and the best possible manner so that you can score the maximum marks. What should be your body language like? How should you emphasize on certain words? How should you modulate your voice? And how do you impress the people who are actually listening to how you speak, right? Now, this is the project which is marked internally as well as externally. Listening, speaking and writing skills. We'll deal with the listening and the writing skills in a separate video, but speaking is what really makes a huge difference, not just as part of this internal project, but also in life in general, right? I had made a video early on when we had started this channel on how to do public speaking. I'll put the link to that video in the description box. I'm also putting up the thumbnail there because that will give you an idea about how do you kind of stand on a stage and address a gathering without getting what we call stage fright, right? Also, many people speak about whether Indian English is okay or not. In my opinion, we are Indians, we are not from Europe, we are not from Great Britain definitely. So how we speak will be very, very Indian, and within India also there will be the Malayalam English, there will be the Bengali English, there will be the Marathi English, there will be the Punjabi English, which is absolutely fine so long as the English that you speak is grammatically correct. The pronunciation of words is absolutely perfect. There could be that touch of the mother tongue, which is fine, but the pronunciation should be largely correct. Okay. Grammatically wrong English will be an absolute no-no. So now in most of your internal project cases, you are usually given sometimes just an hour or two in order to prepare what you will speak in front of the judges. In some schools, of course, they tell you a day or two in advance so that you can go back home and prepare what you will speak. You can actually write it out, practice, and then be prepared to read it out, right? To speak. The first point, and I'm going to give you 10 important points, and these are important, right? Write yourself. Do not outsource it to a third person like your parents. If you have the time, do consult them. Absolutely fine, because they may be able to give you some new thoughts which you could use in your project. But the language has to be yours, and that is what will matter, because if you use a third person's language, it's quite possible that you may fumble because you may not be very familiar with a particular nuance, a particular word or a particular turn of phrase, right? That is something which will be very important, but we will talk about the writing part, as I said, in another video. Today we are going to keep the focus squarely on speaking skills and techniques. Okay. Now, once you have written, practice, practice and practice. Very, very important, right? And how do you do that? Now, of course, if you have been given time beforehand, you could do that at home in front of a mirror, preferably a full-size mirror, so that you can see your body language, how you use your body, your shoulders specifically, and your hands, right? And facial expressions, right? But if you have been given only an hour at school, even then, ensure that when you speak, you could do that. You could go to the washroom and do it in front of a mirror, or you ensure that you have a friend of yours listening to how you speak and give you some kind of specific tips. But do ensure it's a good friend, not somebody who's going to pull you down with some harsh negative remarks. Okay. The third point, it would really be a good idea, and if you have the time, and even before that, knowing fully well that you would be having this internal project, it would be a very good idea for you to kind of look up YouTube and hear and see some really good English speakers. Like for instance, Shashi Tharoor, the MP from Thiruvananthapuram, who speaks excellently. On YouTube, you will find many of Shashi Tharoor's videos, and you will do well to kind of listen to the way in which he kind of modulates his voice, his vocabulary, and the way he kind of builds an argument. That will be very, very useful for you in the long run. Or you could listen to some news anchors either on BBC or CNN, again to see the manner in which they express themselves, right? There is a lot of stuff on YouTube, so please stay away from bad quality and nonsensical stuff on YouTube. It does not help you in any way. Always make it a point to listen to stuff which you will find it useful in your personal life, professional life, academic career, right? Point number 4. Underline what I call the keywords. Now in every sentence there will always be 1, 2 or 3 words that you may want to emphasize, which means you would want the listener to listen to those words a touch more carefully, a touch more intently than the other words in the sentence. So when you write your paragraph or 2 paragraphs, always underline the keywords, and when you are modulating your voice, emphasize on those words a little more. That also adds to the effect that the way you speak has on your listeners. Okay. Point number 5. How you stand makes a lot of difference. Now in school, the stand at ease position would be ideal. In many cases, it also looks smart. It kind of gives you the right posture because your body is well balanced. So it kind of looks perfect. It will also look smart. So that's perfectly all right. What you do with your hands is also very important, because many people do not know how to kind of use their hands. See, it's perfectly all right to occasionally use your hands to reinforce a particular point, like the way I'm doing it right now. But in a school kind of situation, my advice would be not to overdo it. Okay. The listener's attention should not be focused more on your hands rather than what you're speaking, right? They should look at your face, and that's what matters much more than what you do with your hands. Occasionally, perhaps say once or max twice, you could actually use your hands to make and emphasize a point a little more, right? But otherwise, the stand at ease position, in my opinion, would be absolutely ideal. Point number 6, make sure that you're well groomed. Your shirt, your trousers, your skirt in the case of girls, etc. is perfect. You look neat and well groomed. Your uniform should be ironed. Your hair should not be disheveled. Basically, look smart with well polished shoes, socks, everything, right? The appearance also matters a lot. Point number 7, eye contact. And this is very important. You cannot be looking here and there, or looking down or looking up. You need to make eye contact with who your listeners are. If there is more than one listener, ensure that you kind of divide your attention equally between the 3 or 4 or 5 listeners, whatever be the number. So the eye contact also conveys a sense of self-confidence, that you're sure about what you're speaking, right? Also, subsequently, when they ask the questions, also do not look down while they are asking the question. When they are asking you the question, ensure that you are making eye contact with the person who is asking you the question. That's very important, because that will convey that you are listening very, very carefully and giving them the respect that the question deserves, right? Point number 8, ensure that your face does not convey any kind of tension, even if you have forgotten a word or two in between. It's quite possible that when we forget a particular word and remember it in the next sentence, that may kind of reflect on your face, and immediately the face may convey a sense of worry, a sense of irritation. Please ensure that you do not betray any such emotion. That's very important. Okay. Keep thinking of the next train of thought as you are speaking the sentence at that point in time. Point number 9, do not get distracted by anything that is happening around you. Do not get distracted by what I call the surround sound. Okay, focus on what you need to say. Also, it's very important not to get disturbed by the expression on the faces of the judges. It's quite possible that some judge may have a very, very stony kind of an expression, not giving anything away. It's quite possible that some people, some judges may actually giggle at one of your points. Do not allow any of those kind of reactions to upset you. That's very important. So you need to be very focused on what your subject is, what you are going to speak, and the manner in which you are going to speak, right? Point number 10, smile. Very important, and especially if your subject requires you to smile. And the smile also should be very organic and very natural. You know, it should come from the heart, and ensure that you come across as a pleasant kind of a student, not somebody who has just rehearsed something which has possibly been written by someone else and just coming and parroting it out. Also, because of the questions that will follow, be very convinced about what you have written and about why you feel convinced that's the right kind of an argument in case you are making one. Which is why I said right at the beginning, if you write your own argument, if you write your own stuff, it becomes that much more easy to be able to answer any questions relating to it. Okay, so I hope these 10 strategies will really help you while you are doing your project relating to speaking skills, because a good speaker is someone who will always impress people around. Okay, the other point about the listening, if there are any of your other students also listening and reacting, ensure that you don't get disturbed by any of those reactions. So keep these small tips in mind, and I'm sure you will be able to do well as far as the speaking skills in your project for ICSE and ISC students. You will all be able to do well and score full marks in it. Thank you very much for watching.